Hello, today I'm going to show you how to make a virtual momentary switch in the SharpTools Dashboard. So a virtual momentary switch works like a push button. So I have this tied to a scene that is in SmartThings, and when I push on this button it'll start the scene, and when I push on this button here, TV Scene Stop, it'll stop the scene.
You gotta have it up here to know how to start these things and stop them and start them again.
Now the scene that I'm using, I've used in a former video. I'll leave a link up in the corner up here to that video so that you know how to set up that scene. You get an idea how to set up scenes, and of course that's done in the classic app. I haven't converted over to the new app yet because I haven't been invited to make the switch. And I've tested it a few times, and when I do try it, it messes up my presence sensors. I have 3 iPhones set up as presence sensors, and it just still doesn't work right. So I haven't made the switch yet until they get the bugs worked out. But I will be able to use these virtual switches also over in the new app when I do make the switch. So like I mentioned, you'll see here it works just like a push button. So when I hit TV time stop, you'll see this switch go on, and then you'll see it come off. So just like a push button, think of your garage door push button, it'll go on and off. What this does, it controls the lights in my family room, and when we watch TV, we hit TV time start, that dims the lights down. It turns off the dehumidifier that you may hear in the background. Here you see the dehumidifier running. I can turn it off here by hitting this switch and turn it back on. I also have a desk lamp running here, and I can turn that on and off as well. So let's go ahead and hit TV time start. And as you can see, it dims all the lights in the room. It also does the wolf howl sound, which that's addressed in a separate video as well. I'll leave a link up here for that video as well. And this is what it looks like when I hit TV time stop. So there you can see the lights come up. It switches the dehumidifier back on in the background. And again, we have total control on this. Now I can also do this on my iPod, which I have sitting on a desk as sort of a control panel, and I can switch TV time on and off using that iPod, or I can use my phone as well, my iPhone, and use the SmartThings app. I set it up on the front control panel so that we can do that, or I can simply activate it by telling Alexa TV time start and TV time stop. So it's very versatile, and I can control it in a number of ways. So let's now get into the specifics on how to create these virtual momentary switches, how to enable them in SmartThings, and then also how to enable them here in the dashboard. Okay, here you see within the SharpTools help section how you can bring in SmartThings Scenes into SharpTools using virtual switches. So here's an article, and basically the overall concept is to first of all create a virtual switch, then you create an automation to run the scene, and you'll do that within SmartThings so that when the virtual switch is turned on, you can run the automation. The next thing you want to do is authorize the virtual switches in SharpTools. Then once you have those automation routines in SharpTools, you can simply add them to the dashboard. Sounds like a lot of steps, sounds complicated, but I'll take you through each step. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create the virtual switch. And we're going to use this virtual momentary switch. First of all, there's several ways you can create a switch, a virtual switch. You can do it right within the SmartThings app. You can also go into the IDE and just set it up in the IDE. Or you can do this, where you're actually going to go into the device handlers and you're going to add the SharpTools virtual momentary switch that I have here. I'm going to show you this third method. I find this switch to be really nice. The problem with the other switches, you have to make a routine to turn them on, but then you also have to reset the switch, so you have to make an additional routine to turn it off. This one, you have one routine, or in this case, one program that actually turns the switch on and then immediately back off, which is very convenient. You don't have to make the additional routines to turn it off then. So let's go ahead and show you how to get this done. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and log out of here. You want to go to this address here to log in, and log in with your Samsung account. I'll leave this information in the description below the video. Once you're in here, you want to go into Device Handlers. This is where you're going to create the device handler. So let's go back to the SmartThings instructions here. So in creating a virtual switch, here's the detailed steps. You're going to get this code first. So you'll click on this link. We're going to open up that code. Now, this is important. You want to make sure you click on this button over here that says RAW. So click on the RAW. This will give you the raw code. Now, what I'll tell you need to do here to select everything is just hold down your control key and then hit the letter A. That'll select everything. And then what I do is right click and hit copy. So we've now copied all of this code to the clipboard. Okay, let's go back into the SmartThings device handlers. We're going to create a new device handler. So you're going to click on this button over here. We're going to do this from code. So we're going to select from code. You're going to right click anywhere within this space. First left click and then right click and hit paste. So there's all that code that we copied. Then you're going to hit create down here at the bottom. You'll see it says that created smart device. You're not done yet. Now you need to publish it. So over here where the publish button is, let's first save it. Then let's publish it and say for me. Click on for me. And here you'll see it says the device is published successfully. Now if we go back into device handlers, you're going to see I have two here. It's because I just added this one. I've already had this one, the second one in here. So I don't want two switches in here at this time, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. Well, that's still in use, so I selected the wrong one. That's no problem. Let's go back and we'll delete the second one. Asking me to confirm. All right, so that's gone. So I'm back to my other virtual switch that I had from previous, and you can see here's the code. So once you've called the code in here and you have your device handler, you have to go into the devices tab and you have to create the two switches that you want. I want to start the scene and I want to stop the scene. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If we go back into the instructions over here. So this is where you're going to go to My Devices. You're going to click on New Device. You're going to label your device. And on Type, you're just going to select that Virtual Momentary Switch that I just created. Leave version as published. Select your location, select your hub, that's optional. So to add these virtual switches to your device list, you want to go to the My Devices tab. You'll hit New Device, and then you'll complete these fields. And I'll show you what to put in these fields. Let's go back to My Devices. I'm going to go to TV Scene Start. And I'm going to hit Edit on this down here at the bottom. So you can see how I populated these fields. You have to give it a name. Call it something that makes sense to you. In my case, I'm using it to start and stop the TV scene in my SmartThings app. So that's why I call these TV Team Start. Now, the label is optional. You don't have to put that in. You don't put anything in the Zigbee ID. You do have to put something in the network device ID. All I did is, you see, is I copied this information and just put underscores in between so that there was no spaces between the device network ID. I select the momentary switch type. So here I'm selecting that device handler that we just made, and it typically shows up at the bottom of the list. This is a pretty extensive list. You'll see there's a lot of types in here. So I selected the virtual momentary switch, left the version as published, and then I select my home hub. And then in this case, you'll just do a save. I did an update. Let's go back into my devices, and let's go down to TV time stop. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to hit edit on that. Same thing, instead of TV time start, I'm just putting TV time stop. Used the same wording for the network ID with underscores between the words. Selected the same type switch, hit published, and selected my hub. Okay, now we need to go into the app. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and go into my SmartThings application. Again, I'm using the classic app. Here you see my TV time start and TV time stop. Those are on my dashboard. But if I go into my home, and this is all the list of all my devices. If you go all the way down to the bottom of my list, you see those two switches that I just created in the SmartThings IDE. So these are the switches. They're not really able to do anything. You see they are push button opposed to on off. So you now have them within your app, but they're not ready to use yet. You have to tie them to a routine. So I'm going to go to my automations, and you see I already have these set up, and I'm going to show you how to set these up. So let's go into the settings cog. All right, and I want to activate scenes, TV time start and TV time stop. So you go in here and you select your first scene, which is TV time start. See, I have both scenes in here. They're already set up, and again, if you want to know how to set those up, you need to go and watch that previous video. You can find the link up in the upper right hand corner there. So I want to activate TV time start by turning a switch on or off. I'm going to use that virtual switch. So you select something turns on or off, which we're going to select that virtual switch that I just created, TV time start. So I select that, hit done, and what I want to happen is I want to, when the switch turns on, I want it to start that scene. So save and save again. So this scene, TV time start, will start whenever I push that button. Same thing for TV time stop. Let's go ahead and look at that setup. So I want this scene, activate these scenes, TV time stop. All right. When a switch turns on, the virtual momentary switch turns on. So here I'm selecting the virtual momentary switch, TV time stop switch this time. And when that switch turns on, then I want the scene to start. It can be a little confusing, but if you just do what I'm showing you, you'll see that it works. So you save those, it shows you a successful save. Now I'm going to go into my scenes. If you go into your things, your smart home things, then you have where you can set up the rooms in the classic scene, and then you have scenes. These are my TV time start scenes and my TV time stop scenes. I'm going to show you those scenes even though they're covered in the other video. The scene is just a way to have several things happen in your smart home. So that's what a scene is whenever this scene is activated. So in TV time start, I have my ceiling lights go down to a brightness of 24%. They were 100%, so they're reduced to 24%, and my sconces, or my family room wall lights, the brightness is reduced to 10%, and my dehumidifier is turned off. So that's what happens in TV time start. In TV time stop, then I bring the wall lights up to 30%. I turn the dehumidifier, turn that on, and I take my ceiling lights up to 100%. Remember these percentages because you see them reflected on the SharpTools dashboard. Okay, then hit save. All right, so those are my scenes. So there's 3 things you do in here. Actually 2 things. You go into your things and check to see if your switches that you created are telegraphed over to the app. Okay, so you bring those into the app whenever you add them to your SmartThings. You add it to the device handlers, and then you add it to your devices. So this is all your devices. This is a list of all your devices, that same list you saw in the app. If I go here on screen and go to my devices, you see these are the same order that you see listed on the phone. The armed away, armed stay, disarmed, all lights out, bedroom lamp. So those are your devices. And I added, at the bottom of the list, you'll see I added those 2 devices, TV scene start and TV scene stop. Okay, so I said there's 2 things you do in here. So you confirm that your switches have been added to your My Device list, and then you go to the Automation tab and you add 2 automations, or 2 routines I should say. And to add a routine, you just hit that plus sign, give it a name, and then do the things that I showed you here. So the name that I gave the automation was TV time start, you see at the top of the screen. And then I selected the scenes that I wanted to activate, and then I used the switch to activate the scenes. Okay, we got this set up in SmartThings. Now, one thing you can do in SmartThings with scenes, just so you know, since we have these routines in here, you can go to the main menu, and you see I have TV time start and TV time stop. Those are the routines that came from the Automation tab. And if you want to add those to your home screen, I think you probably know, you go up to these 3 lines, manage favorites, and this is a list, that same list of all your devices, and you can see I have TV time start and TV time stop. You can add them as favorites, hit save, and then they'll show up in your list. So you can either add the routine or you can add the actual device switch. Now, how do I get the information that's in SmartThings over to the SharpTools app? So let's go into the SharpTools app. Okay, we're in the SharpTools app. I'm going to go back to my account. Okay, let's go ahead and show you how to bring in these routines. So we'll go ahead and click on this ellipsis over here next to Bud's Home. Here you see the list of things that I have shared with my SharpTools app, and you see the 2 scenes, TV time start, TV time stop, on the bottom. To get those come in, all you have to do is hit check subscriptions, and if it'll bring in any new things that were added, making sure that those are now part of your SharpTools experience. So now that we brought our 2 virtual momentary switches into the SharpTools app, we simply need to add them to the dashboard. So let's click on Dashboard. I have these set up in my Bud's SmartThings dashboard. Here are the 2 buttons. I'm going to show you how that I added those. So let's go ahead. I'm going to delete those buttons. So we'll edit. I'll delete one of them. So I took out the TV time stop down here we'll save that change, and now we just have the TV time start. So we're going to go ahead and add that back in. Okay, so at this point we want to add in, so you go to the green circle down here with the plus sign, and we're going to add in a thing, and the thing that I want to add in is the TV scene stop. So let's select that. We can then close this, hit done. So in order to get this icon on here, we're going to hit the edit line up here. I'm going to select the icon, and you have to select an on and off state. So when the switch is on, I want to select this TV image, and also I want that same TV image when the switch is off. So hit done, hit save. Whoops, I have to save this change first. Alright, there you see the image changed now. Now we hit save, and now we have working push button switches. So when we hit TV time stop, my dehumidifier is going to start over here, and that makes noise in the background, so I'm going to turn that off. Now I want you to notice the device states up here. The ceiling lights are now at 100%, and the wall lights are at 30%. And when I turn the TV time start on, you'll see these values change here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and you watch, you'll see the percentages change here. Takes a while. Okay, so the ceiling lights went down to 24%, and the wall lights, the sconces, went down to 10%. So that's all there is to set this up. Pretty nifty routine, and it's nice to have this functionality not only in the dashboard, so when I have this same display on my iPod next to me, I can control TV time start and TV time stop. If you watch that former video, you'll see that I also have a multi-purpose sensor that I mounted on my bifold doors that separate our family room from the laundry room and bathroom area. And that enables you to control TV time start and stop simply by closing the bifold doors. It kind of isolates any noise that might be going on in that utility room, and allows us to be able to watch TV without all that noise in the background. But in addition to that, that multi-purpose center senses that the door is closed, and it automatically dims the lights and stops the dehumidifier, assuming that we're going to watch TV. So I can do this with telling the Echo device to start TV time or stop TV time. I can do this on the computer, I can do this on the laptop, we can do it in the SmartThings app on our phones, or we can call up the SharpTools app on our phones and do this. So there's a number of ways that we can activate TV time start and TV time stop, so that we can watch movies and TV programs in an appropriate lit room without all the distractions in the background. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, and you'd like to give me a thumbs up, that will tell the YouTube algorithms that this is content that others may enjoy, and it'll help my channel. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time.